Okay, this is lesson 1.5 notes on subtracting rational numbers. To subtract rational numbers is the same as adding rational numbers, only we have one extra step, and that is kachap, keep change opposite, changing our subtraction problem to an addition problem first. So this negative 4 and 1/7 minus 5/7 becomes negative 4 and 1/7 plus negative 5/7. Again, adding the opposite. Okay, same signs add, and we're going to keep the negative here. So we have 4 and 1/7 plus 5/7. 1/7 plus 5/7 is 6/7, and 4 plus nothing is 4. And then remembering on our third step here that our answer is negative. So negative 4 and 6/7. Okay, we have some try it questions. Looking at number 1, we have 1/3 minus negative 1/3. That changes to 1/3 plus 1/3, which is just 2/3. For number 2, we're going to change this math problem to negative 3 and 1/3 plus negative 2/3. So again, we have negative plus negative for a whole lot of negative. Our whole number here is negative 3, and then 1/3 plus the 2/3 is altogether 3/3, and negative 3 and 3/3 is simplified to negative 4. All right, number 4, we have 4 minus 5 and 1/2. That's going to be 4 plus negative 5 and 1/2. Different signs subtract, and we have more negative. So we're going to line this one up vertically. We have 5.5 minus 4. 1/2 minus nothing is 1/2, and 5 minus 4 is 1. And then again, remembering that our answer is negative. So we have negative 1 and 1/2. Okay, so example number 2 has subtracting rational numbers in decimal form. So just like with fraction form, we're going to add the opposite. So 2.4 plus negative 5.6. And then different signs subtract. Remember with decimals that we're lining up our decimal. 6 minus 4 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. And our answer is negative 3.2. Okay, then we have some try it problems. Negative 2.1 minus 3.9 becomes negative 2.1 plus negative 3.9. That's our kachap. And then same signs add, and we're going to keep that negative. Lining up our decimal, we get negative 6. Number 5, we have negative 8.8 plus 8.8. Well, when we have opposites added together, those are a zero pair, so that just adds up to 0. And then number 6, we have 0.45 plus 0.05. Same signs add. We're going to keep this as positive. Lining up our decimals. Okay, we have 0.50, which is just 0.5. Okay, let's turn it over. So on page 2, we are using properties of addition. We could use the associative property to group numbers depending on whether we want to combine all of our positives together and all of our negatives together first. So we have 3 fractions here. So we're going to add the opposite everywhere we see a subtraction problem. So we're going to keep our negative 1 3/8. This right here becomes plus negative 8.5. And then this minusing a negative becomes plusing a positive 6 7/8. So looking at our numbers, we can decide however we would like to combine them. You can combine these 2 first or these 2 first. I'm going to do the 2 negatives together so I can see my total negative. 1 3/8 plus 8 1/2. Since 2 goes into 8, I'm going to pick the denominator of 8 here. 1/2 is 4/8, and I have 3/8 plus 4/8 for a total of 7/8, and 1 plus 8 is 9. So now that is negative. That's my total negative there. I'm going to be adding that to 6 7/8 positive. So right here, I'm going to have different signs subtract, and I know that I'm going to have more negative. So again, off to the side here, we're going to do 9 7/8, our larger absolute value on top, minus the 6 7/8. 7/8 minus 7/8 is 0/8, and 9 minus 6 is 3, and we had more negatives. Well, we're not going to write negative 3 and 0/8. We're just going to write negative 3. Okay, the two try it problems. We have negative 2 plus negative 2/5 plus 1 3/5. So negative 2 and negative 2/5 are both negative. I can rewrite that as negative 2 2/5 plus 1 3/5. Okay, different signs subtract, and I have more negative. So 2 2/5 goes in the numerator at the top, and then we have 1 3/5 down here. But 2/5 cannot subtract 3/5, so I'm going to have to borrow. We'll make that a 1. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7/5 minus 3/5 is 4/5. And 1 minus 1 is 0. We have more negative. Don't forget that negative sign. We have negative 4/5. All right, rewriting this next row, we have 7.8 plus, adding the opposite here, negative 3.3 plus positive 1.2, and then bringing over our plus 4.3. So looking at this string of numbers, I'm going to combine all my positives first using the associative property. So we'll line up our decimal to add all of those together. And then wherever you don't have a sign, you can always put in your zeros there. So we have 7.8, 1.1. Oh, that was just 1.2. Excuse me. That's 1.2 right here. 1.2 and 4.3. So we really don't have this row. All right, so that's 13. Carry the 1. Writing in our decimal. 13.3. So I have 13.3 positive plus negative 3.3. Well, that's the same thing as 13.3 minus 3.3, which gives us 10. Okay, finding the distance on a number line between two numbers. Find the distance between negative 1/3 and negative 2. So negative 1/3 and negative 2 are on the same side of that number line. That's the same thing as the difference between 2 and 1/3. So I'm going to do 2 minus the 1/3 here. And we can change the 2 to 1 3/3. 3/3 minus 1/3 is 2/3. And 1 minus nothing is 1. Remembering that distance is always positive. So the distance between these two numbers is 1 2/3. Looking at number 9, we have negative 3 and a positive 9. If we want to do their distance, we can think of that as maximum minus minimum, which is 9 minus a negative 3, which ends up being 9 plus 3, which is 12. And that makes sense because we have 3 units to 0 here, plus another 9 units here, which altogether would be a total distance of 12. Okay, number 10, we have the same sign, so we're just going to take their difference to find their distance. 13 minus 5 is 8, and here 4 is not enough, so 14 minus 7 is 7. So we have 7.8 units apart. And over here we have a positive number and a negative number, so we know that they're going to be on different sides of the number line here. Here's negative 2/3, here's 1 1/2. So I'm going to add their absolute value, 1 1/2 plus 2/3, getting our common denominator of 6. That's 3/6 plus 4/6 for 7/6 and 1 whole, and that simplifies to 2 1/6. Okay, over to the other side, we have a couple word problems. The first one is a temperature one. The number line shows the temperatures on each side of the James Webb Telescope in Earth's orbit. Find and interpret the distance between the points. Okay, so we've got 0 right here. The hottest temperature is 185 degrees Fahrenheit, and the coldest is negative 388. Again, we're going to add their absolute value to get their total distance. So we have 5 plus 8 is 13, carry the 1. 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17, carry the 1. And 3, 4, 5. So we have 573. And what is it? It's in degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, the last one. We have a parasail is 3 and 100 miles above the water. So here's our water at 0. It's 3/100th of a mile up from that. Then it says after 5 minutes, the parasail is at 1/50th miles. So let's convert that to hundredths since this one is in hundredths units. 1/50th, that's times 2 is 2 hundredths. So now it's over here. So that tells us it actually went down. Okay, this was just our distance from 0, but it started here and it's going here, so it went down. And we're finding their difference. 3/100ths minus 2/100ths is 1/100th. Let's get rid of that. It's just a minus sign. So 1/100th down, or you could say negative 1/100th. Okay.